want to share a story with you in this video that I think you might find a little bit entertaining, but also informational about customers in the lawn care business. So, customer gets very upset with me because, I should say past customer, former customer, okay? I'm going to connect the dots for you. But he got very upset and used some choice language that because I wasn't interested in taking him back as a customer. So that's the gist of it. So let me explain what happened. A couple of years ago, my business was growing fairly fast. I had 2 trucks. I do a lot of weed control and fertilization. I was getting up close to 500 customers. I had somebody helping me part-time, but it really wasn't as much as I needed help with. And I had to kind of make a decision. Was I was going to go ahead and make the jump, hire a full-time person and get 2 trucks going, or downsize and go back to solo. And I made the latter decision. I downsized, went solo. A friend of mine was looking to grow his business, so he took over a considerable portion of my business, and I downsized back to what I could handle solo. So currently I'm taking care of like 300 customers or something, which is, I can get more than that solo, but I took a step back to give me some more time, take a breather, and was able to sell some of the other customers. Well, in doing that, I wanted to keep the customers, most of them that were closest to my home, okay, and just try to really condense my route. And I did that, and that's been I feel like a good move. It's been helpful for me. My route is tighter and more efficient, and in my opinion, more profitable than it's ever been. So I'm really excited about that. And again, I'm not looking to hire anybody at the moment. So to stay solo, I'm being fairly selective on who I take on. I don't necessarily want a one more random customer that's even 5 minutes out of the way. So this particular customer, former customer I should say, was one that got transferred over to new ownership a couple years ago, and for whatever reason it kind of went south from the very beginning. And he was kind of a high maintenance customer early, but I personally never had any trouble with him. He had a very much beautiful yard, small yard, immaculate landscaping that I think the customer took care of himself. And the yard, he was very particular about it, and I understand that. I'm kind of particular about my yard as well. So that was never a problem, always kind to me. I do remember when I signed him up, he asked about a military discount, and I was doing his yard for $30, okay? I said, no, I'm sorry, I'm not going to do it for less than $30, so I'm not going to be able to give you a military discount on this one, but it was a very tiny yard, and again, at the time, he was kind of built into my route, but he's not anymore, and he went over to the new owner, and then that quickly went south, so he fired that guy. Well, I don't know what's happened in the past year and a half since he fired him, but I get a text message today. He says, hey, are you doing any lawns in such and such area? I scroll back up to the text. I'm trying to figure out who this is. I'm like, okay, I remember this guy. And from some of the pictures he had sent and things, I said, yeah, I remember this guy. And I texted him back. I said, is this, is this the same house you were in? I said, because if it is, I'm probably not interested anymore. I said, I sold those properties, and I'm almost at max capacity as a solo operator, and I'm really trying to be selective on who I take on and keep a very tight route. Well, I tried to word it as kindly as I could, but let's just say that did not go over very well. And he went on before that and was using some words that start with the letter F, and was describing what people had done to his yard after me. And I took that in some ways as a compliment, that I was the only one that didn't letter F up his yard. And I thought, okay, well that's good, I think. But then when I told him that I wasn't interested in doing it, I described his yard, and he said, yeah, I still live there. You got a great memory. And I do seem to remember yards fairly well, I guess. But I told him, wasn't really interested. I was being very selective, and so then the letter F start coming toward me because of not being willing to take on the yard. And I tried to explain, and sometimes when that starts, the explanation is not really going to help. But I tried to explain that even 5 minutes out of the way is not ideal. Now, if you're in the lawn business, you might think 5 minutes I'll drive 5 minutes out of the way if, you know, for certain situations. But again, and I will too, okay? But 5 minutes out of the way for $30, and he acted like he was willing to pay more, but you know, it was $30. Let's say it's 40, you go up, that's like 33% increase, you know. To go up to $40, it's just not worth it, because like I said, I told him, I said, I'm almost at max capacity, and I'm trying to get 15 and 20 yards in the same neighborhood, okay? And he's just on this random road. There's no way to really get a dense route. And his idea of dense route, I guess, is like, hey, hit this yard, and then 5 minutes later, here's another yard. And my idea of dense is 15 to 20 yards in the same neighborhood. You know, just knock them out. And to do that, I need to have a lot of yards in that neighborhood, not just random houses strung out along the road. Now, I'll take a random house strung out along the road as long as it's in between those neighborhoods I'm driving to, but this one absolutely was not. And so here's the lesson. Let me see what we can draw from that. I think, for one, people take their lawns very serious, and I do too. I mean, I'm a lawn care guy. I like lawns, okay, but maybe we should check this and to what level of seriousness is a lawn value should hold in your life. And if it is like the most important thing where you get emotionally distraught when something doesn't go right, maybe you should evaluate that, okay? So that's one thing. And I get upset if my lawn doesn't look good or dies or anything like that, but I'm just not going to go crazy. Two, I think we need to be very careful on how we word things to our customers. So, you know, I think the good thing was I had, this guy went on to a new person, and he wanted to come back to me. So obviously he had a good experience when I was his provider. The transition went well enough that he wanted to come back to me later, even though I wasn't interested in doing that. So I think make sure that if you're getting rid of a customer or they're firing you or whatever, you just treat them with kindness and respect so that you don't burn that bridge and they never can talk to you again. Now, the third thing I want to mention is when the letter F starts coming at you a lot, at that point, okay, I mean, you've kind of not my ideal customer anymore, okay? So whether you're self-employed in the lawn care business or maybe you're employed for somebody else, if you have to endure some sort of verbal abuse, I think it's time to move on and look for some other kind of income. Now, I'm not talking about me getting out of the lawn business. I'm just saying I'm going to go to a customer who enjoys other letters than F, okay? Because I mean, it's a good letter. It's after E, it's before G, but it's, you know, you got to use it where it's supposed to be used, and I just don't like it being thrown at me, okay, and describing grass and stuff like that. And so in that situation, I've got to think, is this worth it? Now, you know, if he was going to pay me $100, is it for this tiny yard, is it worth? No, it's not. I'm not going to deal with that, because I don't want my business keeping me up at night. I don't want to have to read these things. And so his number got quickly blocked from my phone because I don't want any more messages like that. Matter of fact, I came quickly to realize that no more explanations are going to do any good to this person. I could write a dissertation on why 5 minutes out of the way for a $30 yard doesn't make sense for my business. But it wouldn't have mattered, okay? He had already made up his mind that this was terrible, what was being done to him. And, you know, the other 15 lawn care providers in our area, 15 weed control companies, there's probably more. None of those could possibly do a satisfactory job, which is not true. I've got some great competitors. So anyway, it is what it is. But I just don't think we're in business to put ourselves through that. So I move on, and I don't think about it, don't let it bother me, and I'm moving forward to sticking with my game plan. So the ultimate takeaway here, and this is one of my ultimate rules in running a lawn care business, is you are in control of your business. I don't agree with the philosophy that if you're self-employed, let's say you got a lawn business, I've got 300 customers, that I have 300 bosses. I don't have, as a matter of fact, I don't have any bosses, okay? I am my own boss. Now, because there's a difference in having a boss and outstanding customer service. Now, I have 300 customers I want to provide outstanding customer service to, But that's different than 300 bosses. You know, the boss tells me when I got to be there, what I got to do, when I can leave, when, you know, I tell the customer, I said, I'm coming on Thursday. We are doing this to your lawn. Here's how much it costs. And I do it in the most outstanding way I can to provide outstanding service in a friendly way. But ultimately, if they don't choose to accept that, then they will move on and go to somebody else, because they're not my boss. They're not telling me what to do. I'm telling them what to do. And I'm doing it again, the most kind way, because I want to keep them as a customer. But let's differentiate between bosses who tell you what to do, because if that's the case, I don't know why anybody would want to be self-employed. Be terrible. Most people don't get along with one boss, much less 300 or 1,000 or how many you got. That's just not going to work. Okay, so I think you need to control the terms of your business. You run it the way that it's profitable for you, and understand that there's a percent of society that is not going to be good enough for, and that's okay. Don't let it lose sleep. Move on, treat them with respect, and go focus on the 95 to 98% of society that what you offer will be good enough for. And move on. And that's it. What do you think? Leave me a comment below. Do you have any situations like this that you've dealt with? How do you view your customers? Are they your boss, or is it, you know, just the tension there? Because like I said, you can't just my way or the highway and just get rid of everybody and treat everybody like dirt. That's obviously not true. But you can't let them tell you what to do and run your business, because at the end of the day, you know, you're the one responsible that you make money and provide good service. You know, they tell you what to do. I think you should do this and do this and do this. And then when you go out of business, where are they? Well, they're not your boss anymore. You're out of business. They've moved on to bossing somebody else around. So you got to take control and make sure you're running a profitable business. If you want resources, lawncarelife.com is my website. I've got weed control and fertilization documents, a video course, the Weed Control and Fertilization Academy. I got the mowing course, the Lawn Business Master Academy, mosquito spraying academy. I got logos. I mean, there's a lot of stuff at lawncarelife.com. Check those out. Or the over 800 lawn care videos on my channel. You can also check those out. Subscribe if you haven't done so. We'll catch you in the next video. Bye.